So today's game is tic-tac question mark, because we're going to be able to adjust this to work on basic logic, facts within 5 and 10, adding patterns, products, plus and minus 1, plus and minus 10, multiples, and even more. All we need for today is a tic-tac-toe board, some dice, and partnerships. And we will make some adjustments as we go along for each game, but they're going to be small to get big gains. So just to take us back to, we want to make sure that we're working on concrete, pictorial, and abstract delivery. So initially with our youngest learners, we're going to work on basic tic-tac-toe. And you might even have some older students who've never been able to play tic-tac-toe. So that very much lives in that concrete area where we're going to take a turn, placing our items on our tic-tac-toe board. And remember that the goal is to get 3 in a row makes tic-tac-toe. And that can be vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. So one version of tic-tac-toe we can work on is to come up with a sum of 5. In this game, it doesn't matter who places the numbers, but I'm going to roll my dice and place them on my tic-tac-toe board. And in this case, I have a dice that has 1s, 2s, and 3s. So for example, right now I only have a sum of 3. So I would need a roll of 2 to give me that sum of 5. I can also have students lay out manipulatives to represent what they have rolled to be able to go that I have 2 and 1 more and 2 more that gives me my sum of 5. So in this game, there's a slight variation. We're looking for the sum of 10. So for each roll back and forth, our partner and myself are placing our numbers on our tic-tac-toe board, looking for 3 in a row to give us the sum of 10. So for example, we might roll a 5, and our next roll is a 6. Oh, and 5 plus 6 does not make 10. So if I'm to place something here, I'm just going to be using it as a placeholder. Our next roll is 3. So in order to get 10 here, we need to roll a 2. So when we do roll our 2, we end up with 5 plus 3 plus 2 gives us our sum of 10. The last person to place the addend is the winner for that round. So for this round, we're going to change that and we can have tic-tac-20s. So now we're going to use 3 addends to give us the sum of 20. Game plays the same way, but I switch my regular dice for a dice that has larger numbers available. So I might roll a 4. My partner might roll a 5. In order to get 20, we have 4 plus 5, which is 9. We would need to roll an 11. We roll again, we get a 10. I have 4 plus 10 makes 14, or 5 plus 10 makes 15. So on my next roll, I roll a 5, and because I'm the last person to place that addend, I have 5 plus 10 plus 5 gives me the sum of 20. I get to win that round. If I'm ready to ramp it up even higher, I can think about this instead of tic-tac-tens, I can show the students that that can also help me with tic-tac-hundreds. So instead of this being a 2, this can be 2 groups of 10, which would give me 20. This can be 4 groups of 10, which would give me 40. So 20 and 40 gives me 60. I would need to roll a 40 to be able to get a sum of 100. It helps students think about patterns in numbers. So for this game, we're going to be looking at multiples. So I can roll my dice to determine my multiple, and in this case, I rolled a 5. So every number that my partner and I place on here needs to be a multiple of 5. So my roll might be 5 times 2, and I might get to write 10. And my partner might think 5 times 4, and they might write 20. And I think 5 times 3, and I write 15. My partner thinks 5 times 6, and they write 30. And I realize, ooh, I can get 3 in a row with 5 times 7, which is 35. So I get 3 in a row of the multiple of 5. So for this game, we don't even need any dice. We're going to think about numbers that when we add a 1 or we subtract 1, what those numbers look like, and when we add 10 or subtract 10, what those look like. So the key is a child will place a number, any number that is greater than or equal to 20. So I might place the number 25. Now if I move this direction, I'm increasing by 1. If I move this direction, I'm decreasing by 1. If I move up a row, I'm actually decreasing by 10, and if I move down a row, I'm increasing by 10. For this game, it is helpful to have two different colors of markers for students to know which one they're placing. So my partner might think, I want to go right here. What is 10 less than 25? That number is 15. The other person decides to go and they think, I want to go right next door. 1 more than 25 is 26. And the purple person wants to go and they decide, I'm going to go right down here. They think I have to go 10 more than 26 is 36. 1 more than 26 is 27. And so since we got 3 colors in a row, we win tic-tac-toe. We could also get 3 going this way if all of our numbers are of the same color. If you think about this as a piece of the hundreds chart, that can be helpful for students in thinking about how would I move across the rows and how would I move up and down the rows. So for this, we're going to use any dice that we choose to use, and we can use this to do sums or we can use this to do products. So if I'm working with sums, I roll my dice twice. 2 plus 3 gives me 5, so I might write down 5. My partner rolls and they roll a 5 and a 5, so 5 plus 5 gives me 10. And back and forth play goes on until 3 in a row is achieved. If at any point during tic-tac-toe a tie game happens, you just play again until somebody is able to win. So if you were keeping tallies of the game, purple could win, turquoise could win, or the ties could win. So if we want to switch to work on multiplication and come up with products, the same thing can happen, but I roll 2 dice and I multiply instead. So I've just switched dices so that I can have larger numbers. So I have 6 and I have 4. I can think about 6 times 4 is 24. And that person would write down 24. On the next roll, 9 times 4 gives me 36. They would write down 36 on their tic-tac-toe board. Again, with the objective being getting 3 in a row. So as we've been gearing things up and gearing things down, I'm going to talk predominantly about gearing things way up. So if your students have mastered all of these concepts, you might want to research ultimate tic-tac-toe. Once you've looked at ultimate tic-tac-toe, you might want to consider moving your children into Sudoku, or even another game called Ken-Ken. All have the same concept of that logic and strategy mixed in with our facts and number sense. So just like we've done with all of our games, if we're playing games with students, we can ask them to tell me how you figured that out, show me how you knew that answer was correct, and we could also ask them, why are you correct, and allow them to explain their thinking and the strategies they use to solve their problems. We also want to provide specific feedback. You worked hard on your sums while playing tic-tac-toe today. You persevered when you had 3 tie games in a row and had to wait to finally place the last number to receive tic-tac-toe. Your effort was amazing as those numbers got more difficult for you. So as you've noticed, we've done a lot with tic-tac whatever. And it can range from our basic tic-tac-toe to sums of 5, to sums of 10, moving into sums of 20. I can work on sums and products. I can work on multiples. And if I really want to challenge kids, I can move into ultimate tic-tac-toe, Sudoku, and Ken-Ken with basic, the same premise all the way through.